Greetings and welcome to the Blueprint Briefing. I am your host, Marcus Xavier. Today, we are stepping into the arena of contemporary history to analyze a profound intellectual collision that is currently reshaping the landscape of modern political discourse. We are examining a clash of philosophies between two prominent figures, the firebrand commentator Nick Fuentes and the veteran journalistic heavyweight Jason Whitlock. This is not merely a digital disagreement. It is a fundamental inquiry into the forces that shape our society. At its core, we are asking a question that impacts every single one of our daily lives. Is the trajectory of our lives determined by individual accountability, or is it dictated by cultural influence? Tonight, we analyze the historical roots of these arguments, explore the linguistic foundations of their rhetoric, and explain the factual reality of what is happening in the heart of our culture. This is the briefing you cannot afford to miss. To understand this debate, we must first look at the historical context of political excuses. For decades, a dominant narrative in contemporary history has focused on systemic causes for social breakdown. Nick Fuentes recently challenged this status quo, demanding that the world stop the cap, a linguistic term meaning to end the deception or exaggeration. Fuentes' argument is historically significant because he isn't just challenging liberal perspectives that blame the system or the legacy of slavery. He's also challenging fellow conservatives. He argues that many conservative voices have simply traded one set of excuses for another. Instead of blaming the man, he suggests they are blaming historical government initiatives like the Great Society programs of the 1960s, or external forces like the welfare state and hip-hop culture. Fuentes' factual position is that these are ultimately distractions from the core issue, individual choice. He points the finger directly at the breakdown of the home, specifically addressing the lack of parental leadership. By asking, who's raising these people? He shifts the focus from invisible historical forces to the immediate, tangible reality of personal responsibility within the family unit. On the other side of this intellectual divide stands Jason Whitlock, operating from what he calls the culture corner. Whitlock's perspective is rooted in the belief that the environment, specifically the moral and spiritual environment, is the primary driver of human behavior. Whitlock has characterized the current cultural trajectory as demonic, arguing that the primary historical failure is a lack of Christianity and the total breakdown of traditional values. He posits that society is currently engaged in a spiritual war without the proper armor of unity and faith. Whitlock points to the influence of disc culture and toxic hip-hop as a corrosive force. However, as we analyze the facts, we find a fascinating convergence. Fuentes and Whitlock are actually in agreement approximately 98% of the time regarding the rot within the culture. The divergence lies in the X factor. Fuentes presents a compelling counter-argument to Whitlock's cultural focus. If toxic music and media are the sole cause of social decay, why do we see different outcomes among different demographics consuming the same media? He notes that youth across all backgrounds listen to the same lyrics, yet the social results are not uniform. This leads us to the foundation of the entire structure. At the Blueprint Briefing, we look for the core mechanism. Fuentes argues that the secret sauce, or the home base, is the deciding factor in how cultural influence is processed. The factual reality is that a young person equipped with a solid foundation of principles and values will process destructive media through an internal compass. Conversely, a child lacking fatherhood, leadership, and guidance is essentially navigating without a map. From a journalistic perspective, we can analyze this as a leadership gap. When the home structure fails, individuals seek a sense of tribe or belonging in high-risk environments, such as street gangs. The argument here is that the culture is the storm, but the home is the vessel. If the vessel is structurally sound, it can weather the storm. If the vessel is compromised at its historical and cultural roots, it will inevitably sink. As we move toward a conclusion, we must analyze the bottom line that both Fuentes and Whitlock eventually reach: individual accountability. Fuentes defines the manly move as the act of looking in the mirror and asking, what can I do to fix this? This is a profound shift in modern politics. It suggests that focusing on factors outside of one's control, such as the system, the industry, or the man, is a strategic error. The argument is that while the engine of culture might be smoking and the storm of society may be raging, the individual is still the driver behind the wheel. This is an empowering, albeit difficult, truth. It suggests that the solution to modern social issues is not found in a new law or a new song, but in the parenting and choices made every single day within the home. In summary, the debate between Fuentes and Whitlock provides us with a blueprint for understanding our current era. Whitlock identifies the broken engine, the culture, and the lack of faith. Fuentes identifies the failure of the driver individual accountability and the leadership gap in the home. At the blueprint briefing, our analysis concludes that while the environment is a factor, accountability remains the ultimate decider. Standing for personal responsibility might mean standing alone. But, as the facts suggest, it is the only path toward true restoration. What is your take on this cultural crossroads? Are you aligned with the environmental focus of team culture, or do you stand with the individual accountability of Team Fuentes? I am Marcus Xavier, and this has been the Blueprint Briefing. Make sure to engage with us in the comments, like this briefing if you found it educational, and subscribe for more original, fact-based analysis of the stories shaping our world.